Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to welcome a very large crowd here today for our briefing session for our January 5th, 2022 meeting. It's a little unusual that we find ourselves here today on a briefing session. I'm sure historically this has never happened because we usually we're required by statute to have an organizational meeting on the first Monday, and that's usually when after December on every other year. And so usually we do all of our chair and vice chair and swear everybody in then, but I think most of you here know that we had an election, at least a complaint, a challenge, and then it went through its process, which ended actually yesterday, last night. So this morning we cleared for swearing in, and so here we are. We were kind of fortunately already having a briefing session. So it's a pleasure for everyone to be here. We'll get started, and we're gonna swear all of our 4 elected folks, now certified elected officials in, and then we're actually we have one person retiring. We're gonna just recognize with a resolution, and then we have a reception outside that we'll take a recess for that for a period of time. So it should move along, quickly. I'm going to turn the meeting over to our vice chair, Gloria Wisenhunt, and she's actually going to introduce the part. I'll be the first one sworn in, and I'd like to invite my wife Rita to come up, and I'm pleased to have my son, 2 granddaughters here. Thank you.
Whoa.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The administration of oath of office will be given by the Honorable Eric C. Morgan, Superior Court Judge, for County Commissioner Donald L. Martin, Jr.
Thank you very much, Vice Chair Wisenhunt, Commissioners, and Chairman Martin. As a judge, one of my very favorite duties is the administration of oaths of office like this. I think my colleagues will agree with me. These are important moments when we can pause and reflect on dedicated and committed service to our community. Chairman Martin has certainly reflected that with long-time service, superintendent of our schools, commissioner, now as chairman of this county commission. Thank you for your service, and thank you for your continuing willingness to give of yourself, your time, your effort, and your talent to the citizens of Cypress. At this time, if you're ready for the administration of your oath of office, Chairman Martin, I'd ask, and thank you, Rita, for holding the Bible for him, if you would just place your left hand on the Bible, raise your right, if you would repeat after me. I, Donald L. Martin, Jr.
I, Donald L. Martin, Jr.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will support and maintain.
I will support and maintain.
The Constitution.
The Constitution.
And laws of the United States.
And laws of the United States.
And the Constitution.
And to the Constitution.
And the laws of North Carolina.
And the laws of North Carolina.
Not inconsistent therewith.
Not inconsistent therewith.
And that I will faithfully.
That I will faithfully.
Discharge the duties.
Discharge the duties.
Of my office.
Of my office.
As County Commissioner.
As County Commissioner.
Of Forsyth County.
Of Forsyth County.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I, Donald L. Martin, Jr.
I, Donald L. Martin, Jr.
Do solemnly and
solemnly.
sincerely swear.
Do solemnly and sincerely swear.
That I will support.
That I will support.
The Constitution of the United States.
Constitution of the United States.
That I will be faithful.
That I will be faithful.
And bear true allegiance.
Bear true allegiance.
To the state of North Carolina.
To the state of North Carolina.
And to the constitutional powers.
To the constitutional powers.
And authorities.
And authority.
Which are.
Or
may be established.
Or may be established.
For the government thereof.
For the government thereof.
And that I will endeavor.
That I will endeavor.
To support, maintain, and defend.
Support, maintain, and defend.
The Constitution of said state.
Constitution of said state.
not inconsistent with
not inconsistent with
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I, Donald L. Martin, Jr.,
Donald L. Martin, Jr.,
do swear
do swear
that I will well and truly
that I will well and truly
execute the duties
execute the duties
of the office of County Commissioner
of the office of County Commissioner
of Forsyth County,
of Forsyth County,
according to the best of my skill and ability,
according to the best of my skill and ability,
according to the law.
according to the law,
So help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. I will now turn the meeting back over to Chairman Martin.
Thank you, Commissioner Wizenhut. Now we will have the administrative oath by the Honorable Eric Moore, apologize. Administration of the office, of the oath of office by the Honorable Whit Davis, District Court Judge for County Commissioner Tanya McDaniel.
Who do you want to hold for? Good to see you, Art. They want us to hold the microphone now. I didn't have a speech prepared like my wonderful colleague, Judge Morgan, but I'll just say this is my first opportunity to get to swear in an elected official. And I couldn't be more pleased for it to be my my wonderful friend, Commissioner Tanya McDaniel. So it's an honor for me, and wish me luck. All right. And rather than repeat your name, I'll just say, please state your name. Okay? All right. Yes, please place your left hand on the Bible and raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, please state your name,
Tanya D. McDaniel,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and maintain
that I will support and maintain
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States,
and the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of North Carolina,
of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith.
and that I will faithfully discharge
I will faithfully discharge
the duties of my office
the duties of my office
as County Commissioner
as County Commissioner
of Forsyth County.
of Forsyth County.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I, please state your name,
I, Tanya B. McDaniel,
do solemnly and sincerely swear
solemnly and sincerely swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution of
of the United States,
the United States,
that I will be faithful
that I will be faithful,
and bear true allegiance
bear true allegiance
to the state of North Carolina
to the state of North Carolina,
and to the constitutional powers
to the constitutional powers
and authorities
and authorities
which are or may be established
which are or may be established
for the government thereof,
for the government thereof,
and that I will endeavor to support,
and I will endeavor to support,
maintain, and defend
maintain, and defend
the Constitution of said state,
the Constitution of said state,
not inconsistent with
not inconsistent with
the Constitution of the United
the
States,
Constitution of the United States,
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Last paragraph. I, please state your name,
I, Tanya D. McDaniel,
do swear that I
do swear that I
will well and truly
will well and truly
execute the duties of the office
execute the duties of the office
of County Commissioner
of County Commissioner
of Forsyth County
of Forsyth County
according to the best of my skill and ability,
according to the best of my skills and abilities,
according to the law,
according to the law.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Welcome to another 4 years.
Tanya, you have to sign.
Oh, sign. Go ahead and sign.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Next, we'll have the administration of oath of office by the Honorable Frederick B. Adams II, District Court Judge for County Commissioner Dan Bessie. Thank you for being here, Judge.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for allowing me to be here. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Like my colleague, Judge Davis, I also did not prepare anything. However, I will say I've known Dan Bessie for quite some time. I actually used to live in his precinct for quite a few years. And I will say it's always good when we have people who are not only willing to serve, but are capable of serving. And I just want to say that I congratulate you on this next journey. I thank you for your willingness to serve. Thank you. All right. Please place your left hand on the Bible. Be after me. I, please state your name,
I, Dan Bessie,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and maintain the Constitution
that I will support and maintain the Constitution
and laws of the United States
and laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws
and the Constitution and laws
of North Carolina,
of North Carolina,
not inconsistent herewith,
not inconsistent herewith,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
discharge the duties of my office
discharge the duties of my office
as County Commissioner
as County Commissioner
of Forsyth County,
of Forsyth County,
so help me God.
so help me God.
I
I, Dan Bessie,
do solemnly and sincerely swear
do solemnly and sincerely swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
to the state of North Carolina
to the state of North Carolina
and to the constitutional powers
and to the constitutional powers
and authorities
and authorities
which are or may be
which are or may be
established for the government thereof,
established for the government thereof,
and that I will endeavor to support,
and that I will endeavor to support,
maintain, and defend
maintain, and defend
the Constitution of said state,
the Constitution of said state,
not inconsistent
not inconsistent
with the Constitution of the United States,
with the Constitution of the United States,
to the best of my knowledge
to the best of my knowledge
and ability,
and ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
I, please state your name,
I, Dan Bessie,
do swear that I will
do swear that I will
well and truly execute
well and truly execute
the duties of the office of County Commissioner
the duties of the office of County Commissioner
of Forsyth County
of Forsyth County
according to the best of my skill and ability,
according to the best of my skill and ability,
according to the law,
according to the law,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations. Oh, hold on. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the opportunity. Pleasure. Oh, we gotta do another one. All right. I'll do this one. All right. guess I can't blame County Commissioner for that.
Thank you, Judge. Next, we'll have the administration of oath of office by the Honorable Camille Banks Prince, District Court Judge for County Commissioner Malachey L. Woodbury.
Like Commissioner McDaniels, I have a few family members here that we would like to. My mom and dad are here, and my brothers and sisters, and my nephew is here, grown up, and great nephew and little brother.
All right, thank you. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the judiciary, again, I am Judge Camille Banks Prince, and it is my distinct honor to administer the oath of office to Commissioner Malachey Woodbury. And that commissioner has a nice ring to it when it's added to your name. So congratulations. All right, left hand on the Bible, raise your right, please. All right. I state your name.
I, Malachey Woodbury,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and maintain the Constitution and laws
that I will support and maintain the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina,
and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office
as County Commissioner of Forsyth County,
as County Commissioner of Forsyth County.
so help me
So
God.
help me God.
I state your name.
I, Malachey Woodbury,
Do solemnly and sincerely swear
do solemnly and sincerely swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
to the state of North Carolina
to the state of North Carolina
and to the constitutional powers and authorities
to the constitutional powers and authorities
which are or may be established
which are or may be established
for the government thereof,
for the government thereof,
and that I will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend
that I will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend
the Constitution of said state,
the Constitution of said state,
not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States,
consistent with the Constitution of the United States,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
I state your name.
I, Malachey Woodbury,
Do swear that I will well and truly
do swear that I will well and truly
execute the duties of office of County Commissioner of Forsyth County.
execute the duties in office of Forsyth County
Commissioner,
Commissioner
according to the best of my skill and ability,
according to the best of my skill and ability,
according to the law,
according to the law.
so help me
So
God.
help me God.
Congratulations, Commissioner Woodbury.
Thank you.
I would like to offer the opportunity to our brand-new commissioners, Commissioner Bessie and Commissioner Woodbury, if they'd like to say a word or two. And we all did ours back when we were sworn back in our organizational meeting, but Commissioner McDaniel, if you'd like to say something after they finish, that's great too. So we could do ladies first for the newly sworn in.
Good afternoon, everyone, and I just want to first thank God for this opportunity and privilege to be before the citizens of Forsyth County, and it just really warms my heart to see you all in the audience, especially my family members and so many friends. I would be remiss if I did not recognize my former board members, Mr. Bohannon and Ms. Jones, who sat with me as a school board member when this community gave me the opportunity to serve in that capacity. And so I take all that I have learned from that experience, bring it here so that I can absolutely keep my oath and commitment to the citizens of Forsyth County. Thank you so much.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I have some notes, so I won't rattle on and on. I'd like to thank you, Judge Adams, for doing the honorable duty today. I appreciate it, and thank you to our other judges who are here and who similarly swore in members of our commission today. And thanks to all my family, friends, and supporters who could be here today. My special thanks to my beloved wife, Daisy, and our family. Daughter Ariana is here also today, without whose love and support no one can hope to run successfully for a position of public trust. Another enthusiastic thank you to my campaign team, volunteers, and other supporters who made a successful campaign from a mere hope into a reality. I want to acknowledge in particular that we have local teachers and local law enforcement officers in the audience today, and thank you both for your service. And note that we also have Senator Lowe, Representative Baker, Sheriff Kimbrough, as well as school board members Bohannon and Jones with us today. Thank you all for coming today. And finally, my deep gratitude to the citizens and voters across Forsyth County who saw fit to loan me your trust and responsibility to represent all of you. I'll do my best to justify and earn that trust every day. My colleagues stepping down from the board today, Commissioner Elney here, and Commissioner Kaplan, I believe, absent. Thank you for your service to all the people of our county. And to all my new colleagues with whom I'll be serving. I look forward to working with you. Thank you for the opportunity. I have every confidence that we'll be able to continue to work together well as a board. Just a few more brief comments on the commitments that I made during the campaign. I want all the voters and citizens of Forsyth to know that I will remember the promises that I made and endeavor to keep them. I will make it a point to work for all the citizens of Forsyth County-wide, whether you live in the city, the smaller municipalities, or in the countryside. I will work to strengthen communications, outreach, and transparency of our local government to our public. I will work to help ensure good communications and cooperation between this board and Forsyth County government and our other elected officers and boards, including our municipal governments within the county. I understand, and I think we all understand here, that we're all stronger when we work together. And finally, I will never forget my commitment to ensure that all of these efforts come with a special focus on meeting the needs of our historically underserved and disadvantaged parts of our communities, as well as the working families of modest means across Forsyth. Clearly, county government can't do all that alone, but we can commit to working with our colleagues in the public and private sectors of our community to do it together. I look forward to being a part of that work. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Mr. McDaniel. Anything that you would like to share?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Thank you, Chairman. I forget. First, I'd like to say this is the day that God has made, and I'm so very glad to be here sharing along with many of you. I would also like to say thank you to many of the organizations that I belong to, the NAACP, I see our president here, Top Ladies of Distinction, National Association of University Women, and I can go on and on. Thank my colleagues already for recognizing many of our elected officials, the ones that will be re-elected as well. Sheriff Kimbrough, thank you all for being here. And lastly, I would like to say thank you for my friends and my family that's here today. I have family, and I will call him my family because he's my son. Antron, if you would please stand. They came all the way from Texas to be here with me today. And there's a beautiful story. You know, I love story, and then we can talk about the glory of God, right? So Antron was there. He was a son. He was a friend to my son, Trayvon McDaniel, who passed away, that you all knew about. In that service, in the funeral service that we had, Antron shared with me, he promised me that he would get his life together. He left a gang, and he is doing amazing. He has his wife here with their children today as well. And he's also a famous barbecue chef. Yes, and he's a famous chef. So you guys reach out to him, and I wanted to say especially thank you so very much with this inclement weather and you guys coming so far. I sincerely appreciate you. And thank you all again. Blessings, blessings, blessings. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I'll let cover that. And I'd like to make just a very few brief comments. First, I want to thank Judge Morgan for being here and doing such a great job and swearing me in, and our other judges. Thank you for being here. And it just so happens that Judge Morgan's wife, Dawn Morgan, is here, and she is a mayor of Kernersville. And it was a real pleasure to see her earlier today and speak with her. And we do have many, many special guests that are here. Thank all of you for being here. And I just had a meeting with the sheriff that was very cordial. It was great. We had a meeting at noon today.
Very cordial.
He wished me, no, I'm not going to get into that. But anyway, it was a very good meeting. And all of you who are here supporting your family members, thank you. And it's certainly been my pleasure to represent citizens for the last 8 years. And I've appreciated that support, and I certainly pledge to do my best. And I would like to thank my family here. As they didn't come from Texas, I do have a couple out-of-state children that are not here, but my son did come all the way from Tom, all the way from Bethania, and my two granddaughters, Delaney and Sita, are with him. And my daughter-in-law was actually, since we didn't know for sure we're going to do this today, she had committed to a day of cooking. She said, I got to handle this. So she was doing that. But anyway, I always thank my wife Rita for her support. And I can remember promising her she wouldn't have to do much in an election campaign, and I told her a story. It wasn't exactly correct, but she was been by my side, and I appreciate that. So without further ado, we do have one short item, and then we'll adjourn to a reception. And the short item is an important one. We're going to recognize a proclamation honoring the accomplishments of Penny Eford, who is on the occasion of her retirement as our internal audit manager. And she has done an absolutely fabulous job, and I'm really pleased to call the podium to read the proclamation. Just immediate former past Commissioner Philomene Elamine, and in fact, he actually did official duty work today as vice chairman of our audit committee. Commissioner Linville actually is ill today. He's the chair of our audit committee. Come on up, Fleming. And Penny, you come up too, please. And so I really appreciated him leading that meeting today and being here. And it's very, very fitting for him to be the person reading the proclamation today. So, Mr. Elamine, take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Proclamation recognizing the accomplishments of Penny Eford on the occasion of her retirement and internal audit manager. Whereas Penny Eford began her career with the Forsyth County Finance Department on September 15, 2014, as an internal auditor, and has retired as an internal auditor manager on August 13, 2018, and has ably served the citizens of Forsyth County for over 5 years. Whereas Penny Eford has served to promote and ensure good government through the independent review of county operations with appraisals, analysis, recommendations, and pertinent reporting of areas of strength and those needing improvement throughout county government. Whereas the chairman of the county commissioners, Don Martin, characterizes Penny's service and our citizens as transforming our internal audit function and has created new policy directions that include the review of effective and efficient checks and balances in our operations. Whereas the chairman of the audit committee, Richard Linville, praises Penny for her dedication, integrity, and attention to detail throughout her years of service to Forsyth County. Whereas Penny Eford is academically accomplished with a Bachelor of Science in Accounting and Business Administration from High Point University and holds CPA, CIA, and North Carolina Local Government Finance Officer certifications. Now therefore be it resolved that the Forsyth County Commissioners hereby recognize the exemplary services and accomplishments of Penny Efford and thank her for her outstanding and distinguished service to the state of North Carolina and the citizens of Forsyth County. This is the 22nd day of December, 2022. Penny.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
So I'm going to try to keep it short. I'm going to try not to get emotional, but it's very exciting for me, and yet, you know, I'm transitioning to a different phase in my life. So, but it has been a true privilege to work for the county of Forsyth and to have your support as commissioners. You all do a tremendous service for the county, the citizens of the county, and the employees of the county, and it does not go unnoticed. Dudley, you are an incredible leader. I have so enjoyed working with you, and you've given me good guidance, good support. I do appreciate that so much. Ashley, the place doesn't run without you, and I think everyone knows that. So welcome new commissioners. It is a great place to be. I look around, I see lots of friends. I see colleagues that I have worked with and that are now my friends. I call you friends. Gordon, we have so many chats that Gordon and I try to figure out the problems of the world, and we don't always get that done. There's still some out there, but we have lots of conversations, and I'm going to miss that. You have great leadership here. I look around, and Chantel and just all of you are great leaders of the county. I must thank the good Lord above for my wonderful family that He has blessed me with, and my friends who are here, who often double as family because they're just that good. So. Thank you. My mom, stand up. My husband, Scott, will stand up. Several more scattered throughout, so we're making it a big day. I do appreciate my family. Again, I thank you all. I appreciate it. It has been a true privilege. I consider it an opportunity to have served the county. Thank you.
Penny, before you sit down, I know that our county manager wanted to say something, and he also has a presentation I think you will find entertaining.
I just want to say, so the rest of the story, so everybody's going to wonder what Penny's going to do as she leaves county service. One of the latest projects she works on is she was an actor in a video for a supervisor training program. And so the word is she was so good at that she is actually so she'll probably be a next movie star. And so if I could get Rodney to come up, Rodney's actually going to play, you're going to see a piece of the video where she was a construction worker that was, and she even alluded to her retirement plans. But anyway, I'll let you see. This is Penny, the next famous actor. That is right.
I think I'm just going to retire and go to the beach myself.
There you go. Thank you, Penny. We're going to miss you. Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you, Dudley.
Great. I'd like to call for a recess as we go enjoy a reception, and we'll try to reconvene in about 30 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy to call us back to order. And we're actually, today, we're going to have the items for our January 5th meeting. We're going to brief, and the county manager will guide us through that. We do have one discussion item, but it's a very short one on a meeting schedule, and we actually do have a closed session that will take place after that. So, Mr. Manager, you can walk us through the January 5th meeting coming up.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, board members and staff and guests. We do have some items to dive into in some detail today in preparation for a meeting 2 Thursdays from now. So that's sort of where we are. And so the agenda is a little lighter. We did that kind of partly recognizing that we were going to have a lot of other activities today, and also knowing that we're going to have an extended break through this. So I will go ahead and dive into it. We've made it through the first 5 agenda items, but item 6 is a resolution ratifying the amended Forsyth County pay plan. Shannon Hutchins, our Human Services Director, is going to come up and review that. You do have, we have been working through this pay plan, trying to make sure that things are as they should be. And so what you've got in front of you is the pay plan as we present it to you as the manager's recommended pay plan. We will continue to go through this and just make sure that everything is as it should be. From this point, if we make any recommendations for changes going into the 2 weeks from now, if there's any administrative kind of things that we need to handle, we'll do that based on the pay plan that we handed you, today on December, whatever today is. So I'll turn it over to Shannon Hutchins.
Good afternoon, Commissioners, and welcome new Commissioners. I'll just jump right in. In late 2021, the Board recognized the labor challenges and commissioned a study to determine the county's competitiveness as an employer and to recommend pay plan adjustments as necessary. Throughout 2022, the Board took measures to address recruitment and retention challenges. That was including a mid-year across-the-board pay adjustment, shift differentials, premium pay bonuses, recruitment and retention bonuses, and numerous contracts with temporary employment services. The compensation study was finalized in mid-November, and staff from the manager's office, budget, and human resources have worked to determine the budgetary impact of implementation. Human Resources has also worked with department directors to ensure correct slotting of positions in the pay plan and to review and validate work of the consultant. One goal of the study was to move the county's pay plan minimums to the average of the comparison group minimums. The comparison group used for this was the city of Winston-Salem, the counties of Buncombe, Durham, Guilford, and New Hanover. Based on data from the study, staff recommends increasing the lowest pay grade, a pay grade 13, from $22,600 to $23,920 annually. Presently, there are no existing employees in a grade 13 or 14 in the new plan, but these grades serve as placeholders if needed in the future. A pay grade 15 is the lowest pay grade for existing employees, and this has a minimum annual rate of $26,371. The proposed pay plan structure remains the same, with 5% between each pay grade minimum, each pay grade, and a 70% spread between each grade's minimum and maximum. And the public safety pay plan will now include emergency services and fire. Here you can see an example of the grade structure and a quick comparison of the new and the old minimums and maximums for the grades. I mentioned earlier that grades 13 and 14 are placeholders. Grade 15 is the minimum for existing employees. This slide shows examples of grades in the current pay plan and the proposed pay plan. For instance, here you can see a grade 18 will increase by 1,673 annually, and a grade 25 will increase by 2,355 annually in the proposed plan. Following the old methodology, an employee's salary would increase by 1.25% per pay grade. So if an employee's pay grade minimum is increasing by 5% in the new pay range compared to the minimum of the employee's current pay range, the employee would receive 1.25%. In this example, the grade minimum is $24,925 annually. The recommended minimum is $30,528. There is a 22% difference between the current and the recommended minimums, which result in a 4 pay grade equivalent. To calculate the employee increase, we would multiply 4 times 1.25%. The employee would receive a 5% increase to base salary. We're recommending a more robust implementation strategy, which will consist of employees receiving 2.5% per pay grade increase as opposed to 1.25%, or an increase to the minimum, whichever is greater. Job classifications with statutory obligations that have been identified as experiencing ongoing critically high turnover and vacancy rates, and also experience a shortage of qualified candidates for the job, will receive a 5% increase to base salary per pay grade as opposed to the 1.25%. The proposed pay plan changes each grade's rates. Therefore, we would also need to adjust employee salaries as necessary to meet the minimum of the grade when no grade change has occurred. Staff recommends implementing the general and the public safety pay plan as proposed, effective January 7th. Approximately 96% of employees will receive a salary adjustment. However, some positions were deemed competitive and will not result in any salary increase. Additionally, some positions' grades were reduced but will not result in any salary decrease to the employee. This slide shows an example of the recommended implementation methodology applied to the custodian job classification. Here, the employee would receive a 10% increase. The difference between the current and recommended minimums is 22%, which is a 4 pay grade equivalent. To calculate the employee's increase, we would multiply 4 times 2.5%, and an employee who makes $31,179 annually would be increased to $34,297 following this methodology. As you saw on a previous slide, the same employee's salary would have been raised to $32,738 under the 1.25% per pay grade methodology. I mentioned earlier that some positions identified as having critical and ongoing high turnover, vacancy rates, workforce pipeline issues, and significant challenges meeting statutory obligations will receive a 5% increase to salary per pay grade equivalent, as opposed to receiving 1.25% per pay grade. These positions and necessary hierarchies of the positions include environmental health specialists, paramedics, public health nurses, senior social workers, and telecommunicators. This is an example of a telecommunicator. Excuse me. This job class is increasing by 15%, or 3 pay grades equivalent. 3 pay grades multiplied by 5%. The employee here currently makes $42,588 annually. And in this example, the employee's base pay will be increased by 15%, and the employee's new pay rate will be $48,976. During the fiscal year 23 budget process, the county manager budgeted $5 million for pay adjustments resulting from the study. The annualized cost of implementation under the recommended method is estimated at $8.598 million. The county manager estimates revenue growth in fiscal year 23 will provide sufficient funding to cover the additional amount in fiscal year 24. The continuation will be included in the county manager's fiscal year 24 budget, recommended budget, but will put some additional pressure on the fiscal year 24 budget. With that, I'll take any questions.
Can I just make one comment? I looked at the inside just to see the attachment. I don't. Does everybody have a copy of that PowerPoint, by the way? Because I could not find it in here, and I think it would be. I think it's kind of one of those things that sometimes a lot of numbers, and it's kind of nice to digest it when it's right in front of you.
Absolutely. I'll make sure that you all get that PowerPoint.
To take it home today and have it would really be great.
Could I ask a question? Mr. Manager, how much additional pressure do you expect in the future?
Yeah, so in terms of affordability of this, obviously in the year that we are in, we're talking about a mid-year implementation, and so there is sufficient funds in the year we're in, obviously. In fact, there'll be a surplus as we go into next year. It is our expectation, and we made some reasonable assumptions about what we hope happens, which we hope this has a significant impact in recruitment and that we actually start pulling ourselves up out of the vacancy situation that we find ourselves in. And so with those reasonable expectations, which are probably optimistic, but I hope they're not. I hope we actually do better on the hiring side, but it would generate about 3.6 going into next year's budget. There'll be about $3.6 million of we will have committed that. If you take action on this, we will have committed that going into next year. And so we just want to make sure that everybody's aware of that, and that would be actually included in my continuation budget. Right now, revenues are tracking. As you know, we've been surprised at how well revenue's been tracking, both on the sales tax side of things and on the property tax side of that. We got a lot of development that is coming on the books. And so, I feel comfortable that we'll be able to include this in the budget. What it will do is it will tighten. Those dollars will be committed in advance, and you won't have those for other initiatives you might want if you just look at it from a continuation perspective.
Yeah, please.
Thank you so much. Could you please go back to the slide where you noted the comparative jurisdictions that you used for the study? And make sure that I understand how it's being used in the recommended adjustments. Please walk through how you used those comparative jurisdictions' salary plans.
Absolutely. So we looked at the pay ranges of all 5 entities, beginning with their minimums, and we took the average. When I say we, Lockton, our vendor, took the average of those minimums to come up with a range for our pay grades.
And that, I thought I understood that correctly, but I just wanted to make sure. So your recommendations adjustments are to the average of the comparative plans.
Yes, sir.
Where they exceed what we do currently, that's where you made a recommendation for adjustment.
Yes, sir. It's where the average exceeds what we're doing. We're the average of those 5. And in those 5, there are 2 counties that are top pay dollars, Guilford and Durham. Buncombe and New Hanover, a little less modest, and the city of Winston-Salem, as you're familiar, they're typically have been higher than we have been. So we've got some of the high side, so you're actually getting that average. That's the target. And if you all, if Commissioner Woodbury and yourself, Commissioner Bessie, have not seen, the reports from the pay study, they actually show it's about, 40, 50 positions. They show that for each of those comparison counties with that average, and then we have added for where we are for Forsyth County because the minimum and maximums are exact numbers. They're not some average, they're not anything. That's what a person starting off would make and the max that you would make in that pay range. And that listing, if they have not seen it, because we all have, would be very helpful, because for me, it helps show how how far below we were in a number of positions. We are more competitive in many positions, but on some, we are way, way out. And particularly on some of these critical positions, the social workers, the telecommunicators, the EMS, workers, all the environmental health people who go out and do septic tank checking, people go to restaurants, do the certifications, et cetera. And those are hard to find folks too. So it shows you how out of whack we were. And this method, then there's a lot of discussion, then that's what happened to all of our minimums. So everybody comes into that minimum. And then it goes into what we typically did, because there had been pay grade changes in the past. And typically when you moved up a pay grade, 5%, if you were already working for us, we applied your current salary times a 1.25. Well, this is doubling that to 2.5. And then if you're in that high category, it is quadrupling it. It is 5%. So it ends up, and I think what you have at your place is, this is literally fresh off the press today. This kind of shows you for every kind of what those ranges are for every sort of position and grade. And if for any, you don't have the comparison, but if you took a look at that Lockton study piece, you would get a pretty good idea of how below that minimum average we were. And I think if they haven't seen that, I know you've already done it. It would be a great thing to email both of them, because for me, that established the what do we need to be, do we need to do an amount? I mean, it just showed how non-competitive we were in a number of areas. And the areas that we are competitive, there was less change. If it only been up one pay grade, it was a much more minor adjustment. So it really helped the folks that were way out of whack, and it helped the folks that were at it. And then it ended up being there were only about 4% that really had nothing out of all of our employees. So that lets you know that we were pretty far out on that. But it's very helpful, because you'll see you'll see Winston-Salem's average for that. You'll see the Durham's and Guilford's and Buncombe's and New Hanover's. Then you'll see that average, and then you'll see us. And that's a helpful. It's about 30 pages of stuff to look at. And it doesn't take long to look at it. Once you get a flavor, you got it. And looking at that.
I'll make sure you get that today.
And thank you, ma'am, and thank you, Mr. Chairman. I personally default toward recommendations to keep us competitive, but sometimes I need the remedial tutorial to make sure when people ask me what we're doing, I can explain it.
Absolutely, understand that.
Chairman Martin, I just wanted to maybe extend a little the conversation where I think Commissioner Bessie is going around just having enough information to be empowered to make a great decision on behalf of the employees of the county. And so from my perspective, and I think what would help me, and it may be in this document, is to not just see where there is competitiveness, but where can we even idealize around being the top county to attract folk to come and work for Forsyth County. And if those numbers are in that plan, then that will help me to kind of look at the whole picture.
Absolutely. I'll get that to you today.
Do we have any other questions?
Thank you all.
All righty, thank you.
All right. Thanks, Shannon. Agenda item 7 are the minutes from the December 15th meeting, and they will be...
They have not been sent out yet, but I will send them next week.
All right, sounds good. Thank you. Agenda item 8 is we got budget and finance matter. It's an amendment to the 2021 PAYGO capital projects ordinance to transfer funds from inflation contingency to the pickleball project. So I'll turn it over to Kyle Wolf, our budget and management director.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. So as you will remember, back in October of 2021, the board heard a recommendation from staff to build pickleball courts at Joni Moser Park. And earlier this year, back in January, the Board of Commissioners adopted a 2021 PAYGO CPO with funds made available as a result of FY21 year-end results. And as part of that action, $200,000 was set aside to build those pickleball courts. Bids have been received for the project, and the cost is more than the $200,000 that was set aside. And in addition to the $200,000 that we set aside for those pickleball courts in the 2021 CPO, we also set aside funds for in a reserve for inflation contingency. And so this action would transfer an additional $141,106 from those inflation contingency funds to fully fund the pickleball project. And so with this transfer of $141,106 and a prior transfer of $1,817,750 for the Blues Lake project, we'll have $239,576 remaining in the 21 PAYGO CPO for inflation contingency. And I believe in the next cycle of items, you'll see the pickleball bids come back in, actually to be approved.
And we bid it. It came in extremely high, and Damon may want to talk because it's what you'll see. We rebid it, and it came in much better.
We bid it in July, and it was $420,000, and then it's dropped down to about $360 now. When we decided to rebid it because we thought it was too high back then, and it's benefited us probably $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 by rebidding it. And that's to do 9 courts, which would take the basketball court and then the open space next to it and the tennis courts at Joni Moser.
I'm looking at this, I'm not seeing the actual, what is your best, what was the final best bid on this?
That'll be, I believe,
Was it 341?
Agenda cycle, it was around, it's actually lower than 341. I think we put some contingency money in there as well. So I believe it was lower than 341.
324,863.
Okay. 324,863.
And this does actually go back and actually rip up the old and replace new?
It gets rid of the tennis courts, it gets rid of the basketball courts, and it takes the open space that was next to the basketball courts and makes 9 pickleball courts, which was the larger configuration that they were interested in when they came here.
I got you. So everything's brand new.
That's right.
And it was already leveled, just as you got to dig it up, and you're basically regrading, so it's basically from the start. But wow, that's inflation at work, that's for sure.
Thank you, Kyle. All right. We've got one grant matter. Agenda item 9 is a resolution authorizing submission of an application to the State Library of North Carolina to apply for and accept if awarded a Library Services and Technology, or LSTA, project grant to fund the purchase and installation of library lending kiosk in an unincorporated area of Forsyth County. Brian Hart, our library director, will review this. Or at least for now, library director will review this. Before Brian goes off as an assistant county manager in Person County, heading into 2023.
So, good afternoon, and thank you, and congratulations to the newly appointed Board of Commissioners. So the Forsyth County Public Library is requesting approval to apply for an LSTA grant, a 1-year grant project that would allow us to place a library lending kiosk in an unincorporated area of Forsyth County so that we can continue to provide equitable access to library services and offerings across our great county. I have with me today our Deputy Director, Elizabeth Skinner, and our Innovation and Technology Manager, Royal Grantham, who are also on hand to ask any questions that you may have regarding this particular LSTA grant.
think you might be good, Brian.
I might be interested in what, I'm just reading part of this I thought was
Yes,
kind of
sir.
funny. Basically, it says, it says supply the kiosk with collections that are curated to be relevant to these populations. I'm just kind of curious what the Tobacconville population match is, not what Tobacconville, and then what the Watown population collection is curated to be. That's just a curiosity question.
Yeah, so we've worked with Matt Forsyth and review some of the census data to understand kind of where the population of those areas are going. And so we would probably try to stock these kiosks with inventory of materials that would appeal to those neighborhoods and that clientele. So
Tobacco is 65 and older.
That's right. I was just trying to.
Westerns in large print and other items as they request them.
And how do these kiosks work, by the way?
They're quite similar to Redbox machines, which if you're familiar with those, you would go to a Redbox kiosk or a vending machine. There'd be a number of DVDs and titles that you'd be able to, or Blu-ray discs that you'd be able to review and select, and then it would dispense them right there. You could also make requests, and our library staff, in the instance of these kiosks, would come in and fill those requests by putting them in those kiosks so that persons who lived closely enough to those could just pick their materials up there, as opposed to traveling a considerable distance to get to one of the locations.
Got it. Well, that's good. It's good. Be interesting to see how they work. Sure, please.
One clarifying question.
Yes, sir.
You've referenced 2 locations, but I keep seeing language about 1 location.
Yes, sir. I can provide some clarity for that. So we, back in July of this year, July or August of this year, the State Library of North Carolina also received some ARPA funds that they administered, and based upon a formula for state library aid, they distributed some non-recurring state funds to libraries across the state. The Forsyth County received approximately $196,000, $97,000, and so we believe that once we've gotten this grant, that it would afford us the opportunity to put 1 or perhaps 2 kiosks in areas, which would again emphasize the equitable access component. We probably have the funds to do a smaller kiosk right now, but that would leave some people still disadvantaged.
Well, I'm still unclear. Would the intent, if you get this grant, be to do 2?
To do one with the funds that would be made available to us through this grant. And we believe we have some other funding that we've already received from the state library that would allow us to do a second.
Okay.
Right. And just from the optics of things, we thought it would be best to do them at one time as opposed to doing one and then having another community, clamoring, questioning where was theirs. So,
Thank you.
yes, sir.
Other questions?
All right, very good. Brian, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We have 4 ARPA matters for consideration, and Aisha Carter, our amazing ARPA administrator, is going to come up and take us through these. I will. Can you just do them all? Thank you. I won't introduce them then.
Good afternoon, Commissioners, and congratulations, newly elect. Now it's working. Okay, well, I'll just go ahead. Okay, Aisha here to present several resolutions relating to the ARPA funds. If you can recall, on September 22nd, 2022, the board approved a preliminary ARPA Round 2 funding plan, which included funding the following projects. First is a resolution to execute an agreement with Habitat for Humanity of Forsyth County in the amount not to exceed $110,000 from ARPA funding. This will provide 11 families with $10,000 in down payment assistance to purchase homes in Forsyth County. Funding will be used to serve families that have incomes up to 80% of the area median income in Forsyth County. Any questions about that one? The second one is a resolution approving Forsyth County's request to fund protective rescue gear for Forsyth County's Emergency Services Department. This is a one-time request for 75 sets of EMS protective rescue gear for the Forsyth County first responders, replacing worn-out gear to protect them at car wrecks, rescue scenes, industrial incidents, and incidents involving hazardous materials. PPE is covered under ARPA final rule, and this agreement will be an amount not to exceed $149,250. Questions in regards to that one? The third one is a resolution approving Forsyth County's Emergency Services Fire Division's request for 4 fire engines funded with ARPA funds. The four fire stations are Hornytown Volunteer Fire, Mineral Springs Volunteer Fire, the Salem Chapel Volunteer Fire, and Union Cross Volunteer Fire Departments of Forsyth County. This need is due to aging fire engines that are limited by tax base and taxing capacity or are currently experiencing significant maintenance issues. Cost shall not exceed $2.8 million. Any questions in regards to that one? Yes.
Please alleviate my ignorance here. The location of the Salem Chapel.
All of them are in Forsyth County.
Oh, yes, ma'am, but where in Forsyth?
Kind of, if you go to Walkertown and then you head out from Walkertown like you're going to Walnut Cove, it's about halfway between Walkertown and Walnut Cove.
Thank you.
It is the most rural fire department there is. It is the most volunteer-dependent fire department
They
there
would
is.
welcome your visit. I have been there.
Yeah, it's
Thank you.
It's pretty well. They have the oldest fire engines that are still running in the county. It's amazing. And they're in great shape. Do a lot of good work.
Yeah.
Right, thank you. And fourth is a resolution approving execution of an agreement with Triangle Residential Options of Substance Abusers, Inc., or TROSA, for resident meals. Funds will be used exclusively to provide well-balanced meals to residential clients with substance abuse disorders. Those served are individuals in Forsyth County who are low income and receive TROSA services at no cost and meet all of the eligibility requirements to qualify for the SNAP program. Materials and supplies will not exceed $60,701. Any questions in regards to that? Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Aisha. It's good to get these projects along the way, and we're going to be excited to start showing you some of the spend history where the dollars are starting to get out there, and we're making good progress with that, so thank you. Item 14 is a resolution awarding a contract for professional media services for the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office, and the vendor there is Hunter D. Laughlin. I think Randy Hunsucker, our Sheriff's Business Officer, will review this.
Thank you, Dudley. Honorable Chairman, board members, good afternoon, and new members as well. This item before you today awards a contract in an amount not to exceed $62,999 for public relations, photography, videography, and editing services, which also includes design services for marketing materials, graphics, logo creation. The contract would begin February 1st, 2023. I wanted to mention the cost of these services has not increased in 2 years. The Sheriff's Office recommends continuing with Hunter Laughlin as no other contractor is as knowledgeable or familiar with Sheriff's Office operations. One other bidder proposed to work remotely with the use of an undetermined subcontractor, which we assess would limit the ability of our PR team to accomplish objectives and effectively represent our brand in a timely fashion. Funds are appropriated in the current fiscal year budget, and no additional funds are requested today. I would be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
Thank you, Randy. Agenda item 15 is a resolution authorizing an agreement between Forsyth County and the Winston-Salem-Forsyth County Board of Education. It provides school nursing services by the Forsyth County Department of Public Health. Turned over to Joshua Swift, our Public Health Director.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. This is an agreement between the Forsyth County on behalf of the Health Department and Winston-Salem-Forsyth County Schools to provide school nursing services. There's no cost associated with this agreement, and this is an annual contract to provide school nursing services. There are 2 changes from previous years. Under Section B, number 5, we added verbiage to include a HIPAA-compliant space for each nurse at each school. And under section A, number 2, there is a paragraph just to describe how we are able to do on-site immunization clinics to go into the schools to help make sure children are compliant with state mandated vaccines. Any questions?
Any questions?
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Joshua. All right, last items are reports. You've got the October 2022 and November 2022 contribution-based benefit cap report. For the new commissioners, I can kind of go over what that is offline if you want me to. And then the 2023-2024 Community Services Block Grant application for funding, community anti-poverty plan submitted by the Experiment in Self-Reliance. And so, is there anybody from Experiment ESR here? Chantel, I know sometimes they talk a little bit about that, but we don't have that today, so that's fine. And Mr. Chairman, the only other item I had is just prior to the meeting, I had inquired with Mr. Neff about where Forsyth Humane Society was in terms of response back to us. And his response to me was, I'll try to get it exactly so I don't misstate it. He's basically saying the board of directors have multiple conversations regarding the commissioner's final offer of $1.2 million to remain in the contract with a term of 5 years. He's basically saying just due to the magnitude of this decision for both our agency and the community, there continues to be ongoing conversations, but the board has committed to providing a decision or counteroffer by January 2nd. So by the time we get in this meeting in 2 weeks, we should have sort of their response to that. So wanted to share that with the board, and that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Good. Our one discussion item is very brief.
Yeah, before you move forward, I do have a question for Dudley with regards to that response. So are they aware that that was our last negotiated offer?
Yeah, so in his email, he made it clear. He said regarding the Board of Commissioners' final offer of $1.2 million. So since he restated that, I think you can safely say that's where they are. He did mention a counteroffer in the last part of that,
too.
but
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
I just want them to be very clear where we are.
Thank you. That will be helpful.
Thank you.
Further questions about the Humane Society? All right. This is an item that actually occurred at our last meeting. We're at the point where, for our first briefings, we're basically going over the topics. It's been just a topical review. And what we have been doing is actually videotaping the meeting. And then we've been stopping, changing over, and coming back literally for, it may only be 10 minutes or less. And that was a separate video. We used to do the first brief, we went through part of what's the kind of discussion we just had today. We used to do that twice. But we're basically, because the meetings began running longer, we got into sort of that, and we're using these briefing days as an opportunity to go into great detail. So I just suggested that we actually have the last item on our agenda, and every regular meeting would simply be review the proposed items for example, the January 5th board meeting that will be briefed next week. And then Dudley would do just what he's been doing and go over those, and we would adjourn, and we would not be having a separate video with just a literally 5 minute, sometimes a 5-minute review or 10-minute at max. So since we've kind of quit doing the long full meetings, there's really nothing to watch at this point. So that way we would be able to close out and adjourn without having to stop and do that. And it became really an issue last week because we had a retirement and a reception, and we literally spent 10 minutes switching over and coming back, and folks were out at the reception. It was very awkward last week, and that's what sort of prompted the thinking that we could probably do that. And the meeting guru, Ashley, agrees that works, and so did the county manager, that could work. And so if no one has objections, that's what we'll do on January the 5th. We'll actually have the items for the next briefing will be simply reviewed for the next meeting, and then we'll have the briefing the following week. Take that accurately, we're good. All righty, great. I think we need a motion for a closed session.
I need to ask the board to consider a motion to go into closed session to discuss one matter to establish or to instruct the public body staff or negotiating agents concerning the position to be taken by or on behalf of the public body in negotiating the price or other material terms of a contract or proposed contract for the acquisition of real property by purchase, option, exchange, or lease pursuant to provisions of North Carolina General Statute 143, 318, 11A5, and three matters to consider: the qualifications, competence, performance, character, fitness, conditions of appointment, or conditions of initial employment of an individual public officer, employee, or prospective public officer, employee pursuant to provisions of North Carolina General Statute 143, 318, 11A6, and since no business comes before the board at this meeting, following a closed session, the meeting will be adjourned.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Plyler, second by Vice Chairman Wizenhunt. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously.